Here's the start of this week's Henry J video. She's sitting down. You can see he's been kind of seeing what he wants for wheels. But I'm going to open up these boxes from Summit. And there we go. A couple fans that I think are going to fit. A tranny cooler that I think is going to fit. Some lines that we're going to make. And a whole bag full of fittings. So let's see if we can turn this into something. Just maybe. The fans are out. And just as we figured with all our measuring, they will fit in here just fine. I can slide them up, I can slide them down. So I think the next thing we're going to do, because obviously I would love to have the fans as close to inlets and outlets as possible, because those are going to be your hottest zones. However, you know, they've got to be practical. I don't want this in front of this, because that'll make belt games difficult. This side can be wherever it wants. So in a minute, I'm going to slide the radiator back in and play with fans and final locate. Okay, and here's why you test fit things. If I'm all the way over on the flat, you can see I've got a line drawn there. I've got two lines drawn there. I just clear the belt. And honestly, if I could find a belt that's a little bit longer, I'd probably be a little even better off yet. But that's why you got to fit things before you go attaching stuff. Also, because I have so much room over there, and I clear that by, that might as well be a mile. If I split the difference, it buys me just a little bit more. So that's kind of where we're at. But this is the importance of test fitting things. This is also called getting greedy. Okay, in an effort to make my life harder, I'm going to shoot a little video as I'm doing this. We really did look at placing it this way, having hose coming around the side and going to hardline right here. It's too restrictive. So instead, what we're probably going to do, in fact, you want to hold that for a second, is slide that down. And I've got the hose just to show me where hose would go. What we're trying to do is get pretty decent airflow, but we also want it to look nice. Yeah, so we're probably looking right in this range here. Gets the hoses down low, where it's really difficult to get at the fitting, but then they're also kind of hidden. So we took a pretty good educated guess with the tape. And that will get us under the core support, you know, under the radiator, and then we'll make hard lines out of the tubing that we got. Okay, so we'll do a bubble flare on this tubing and then do a clamp on it. And that should hold just fine, so we're going to take a look. Well, you learn something every day. The little feet we ordered, because they were recommended on Summit, and it's been a while since I ordered fans individually. You can get them on there. They're not fun to get on, but they've got a giant gap. You know, they sit about that far off. And we're like, huh. Well, we had some old fans here, these little ones, and they had some feet that had a bushing on them. So we were like, oh, okay. We pulled those off. And then, of course, there's some kind of change over the years, because these fans are kind of old. And if you try to put these on, they snap. So then we're like, huh, well, okay. Then we got around to, I don't know, looking at the box. And the part number we ordered that was recommended by Summit, and I didn't even think about it because I was doing 50 things, was this. We bought a bunch of these. They're only like $4 a pop, so, you know, don't get crazy. Well, what we really wanted with these, the 17, not the 10s, that would have been no problem for the rest of our day. We don't really need any of these really long ones, but yeah, so that would have been handy to have. The one thing we did note is holding this up. We can still get this mounted so that we can run those lines before we install the fans, because I want to do it correctly with the right feet that actually fit. But we've already checked, and these, when they're on, won't interfere with this anyway, so that'll work out just fine. So it's not my favorite, but I'd rather do it right, especially on a project that's been going for so long. And this belt, that's right there, back of that motor. It's going to be interesting. We'll get it. It'll work. It'll be awesome. Now, we're disappointed about the feet there, but we're going to keep moving on. We've got this guy mounted. We're leaving these loose until we know exactly where the other end's going to be. So we've got that located and mounted. And then you can see it's going to be snug, but I think it'll work out okay. And I've got the lines that I need here for all my reference marks for when we do get the other feet. But we're going to go ahead and drop this in the car, pick the car up, and start kind of looking at how we want to run the lines. All right, so now she's going up. And you can see how it'll look from the front end. You won't see any of that. We hid the clips, so hopefully you never have to get in there. But yeah, that'll hide up pretty good. And I'll stay out of the way while this is going up. And you can see under there is where I'm going to have to run hard lines too. It's not my favorite, but there's not a lot we can do. So once the car's up, we'll go monkeying with the trans. Alright, like every car in the world, working on tranny lines is never fun. You can see, here's my wrench right here for that fitting there that I'm trying to take off. Real fun to get in there. But it is what it is. Alright, so I got that one in. I don't even know if you can see that one. It's way up there. It's really fun to get at. So now it's time to start templating. We have straightened tube. Baggy's putting the roller away now so that we can get set up to do a flare. Okay, we're getting ready to do this flare. We just got it set square. So you square it against that edge. This is 5/16 line. So we're going to do operation 1 for 5/16. Which of course is something you got to actually do, even with this stuff. And then, because I can't read, I'm going to go operation 2 for 5/16. So right now, that's a bubble flare. If I bring it in, do this again. That is a beautiful flare. Show the people just what a beautiful flare that makes. This is a great tool. You got to have a little room to do it, but it does a beautiful job every time. So there is the start to our lines. Getting ready to get under there and play with that. Okay. So now when we cut that and put some clampies on it, you'll get one here and one here. And then we'll probably make a little clip here and a clip here to hold them. We're going to look for a stud and clip for here to kind of hold those together. Do a couple of those little 2-line clips together in a few spots. We can probably take this here and make a nice holder. And then as we get back here, I can still do a little bit of bending just to make things feel good here. And there. There are lines that we should probably have done long before there was an exhaust and a body and everything else. But then how? How do you know where to put them? So, and that'll be hidden. So unless you're looking under this valance, you won't even notice any of that. So there. That's going to work. Okay, we're cleaning up and closing out. We went through and did another snug up. There wasn't a lot, but there were a couple drips. So, you know, brand new lines. Kick the can. Might as well. I did too. I kicked the can. But, yeah, it got late. So, we got a bit done. We're a little disappointed about those clips for the fans. But we'll get them. We'll get them next week. It's not the end of the world. So, all right. Henry J is definitely coming along. Hopefully in a couple weeks we can roll this onto a trailer and get it over to the house so we can start figuring out the wiring, because that's going to be fun. This car is going to, it's going to be a little swearing. Just the way that goes. Getting to the back there and everything. It's a tight thing, and that roll cage really makes it a little tougher. So, anyway, there's those beautiful fans just sitting on the floor. Have a good night. This has been another ShopRex approved video.